Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.
Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Bob Danback.
And I'm Barb Gravel. On this edition, we'll visit a town filled with murals, hear about the lives of people buried in a rural cemetery, and enjoy the music of a Southern blues-style band from Minneapolis. Denise Lajmadier creates amazing works of art with merely her eye teeth and a thin layer of birch bark. She shares her passion for this ancient Ojibwe Cree art through workshops as well as her poetry.
It's spiritual for me and it's healing. It's just a reflective time for me. Birch bark is everything to Anishinaabe. Ojibwe people was our homes, our wigwams, it was our baskets, it was our canoes, our medicine, our utensils. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to work with the birch bark and to have learned the art. I was born here in Belcourt in the early 50s, and my father was a carpenter. He was unable to find work, of course, in the winters. So we relocated out to Portland when I was 6 years old. I started first grade there, and I continued on through my freshman and sophomore year at Portland State University. We would come home during the summer, which I absolutely loved. I wanted to stay here. I saw a flyer at Portland State University for Northern Plains Indian Teacher Corps program, and you had to be going into your junior and senior year, which I was at that time. I applied for the program and was accepted and happily packed one suitcase, got on a train, and came home. I got my teaching degree. So we are going to talk about Mazinibikajige, which is the Ojibwe word for birch bark biting. I was doing a poetry reading at the Eiteljorg Museum, and it was a time when they also had their native art show. I was walking around outside under the tents, and I saw a dragonfly bitten onto a piece of birch bark, and I asked Kelly Church what that was, and she explained it to me. Absolutely fascinated, and that's something I want to try to do. And we fold it with the light side out. She sent me all of the tricks of the trade and became my mentor, and she was so generous with her knowledge of birch bark biting. I was fortunate that I have the teeth to be able to do the biting. You have to use your eye teeth. I close my eyes because I see the design sort of in the darkness. Kept practicing for about 4 years before I felt confident enough to start selling my work. I received a grant, the Minnesota State Historical Society Native Americans Artist in Residence Grant. Very carefully unfold it. That award was absolutely life-changing because it allowed me to study the history of birch bark biting. There you have it. Birch bark biting is a pre-contact art and a very ancient old Ojibwe Cree art. Any tribe that lived along usually the northern part of the United States that had birch trees did the art. This is a beautiful piece of bark. It's got probably 15 layers to it. You have to be patient in peeling, so it teaches you patience. And then once you peel that, you can fold it in all kinds of ways, hundreds of ways. And then you bite down using your eye teeth. Beautiful, keep going, don't open it, keep going. And then you have to be very patient again when you open it up because it can tear very easily. So once people open it up and see their design, the look on their face, I'm a teacher, so the look on their face is just like Christmas. It's like opening up a little present. And then when they hold it up to the light, to the sunlight or to a light, and they see their designs, the light shining through their designs, it's a moment of awe for them. And it's fun for me to watch them discover what they've done.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, hold it up to the light.
Beautiful.
And no two designs are alike, they're like snowflakes. So nothing you bite is wrong or isn't beautiful. So everything they do is absolutely gorgeous and is right. This is called birch bark biting. I study the spring peeled bark gathered when leaves unfolded. Thunderbirds, wings spread wide, gaze back at me. Peel the amber bark into thin layers, careful not to tear claw marks. Place the folded bark in my mouth, biting down with eye teeth. Closed eyes see designs, unfold a flower, turtle, or dragonfly. Hold it to the light, feathery bite, marks glow through transparent wings. I love the way birch bark sounds. I love just the way it feels. It's a very healing, peaceful thing for me to do, to be able to do. I absolutely love working with birch bark.
Dave Everett's vision became a reality in 2003 and can be seen up and down every alley of Wadena, Minnesota. Over 50 artists, 100 students, and 89 volunteers created murals that reflect the history of the town.
The state dug up the main street going through downtown Wadena, what they called the Big Dig, and the businesses had to figure out how to make their back doors attractive so the customers could feel comfortable shopping through the back door because they couldn't get to the front door. And I had this inspiration that if the back of my building looked interesting, we could make the backs of lots of buildings look interesting. As the art director, I knew the total picture that I wanted portrayed, but I didn't give them direction on how to portray any individual chapter of that whole history. I allowed them to do that because it was much more exciting and fruitful, and the artists, they all turned out to be magnificent. They just all did a wonderful job.
It was simply my obligation to depict something that has to do with railroad. That was what I was really interested in, so I think at one point I might have showed some preliminary sketches to give a general idea of the style I was working in, but it was basically go ahead from the get-go. I took things like that as factors in my planning process, that the shapes would be simple, they would be bold, and people would very soon know what they were looking at and what its purpose was. Therefore, I even added the name Wadena onto my mural.
They wanted a painting that would bring forth the people that came to Minnesota. And on that mural, there's 94 nations, I don't know how many flags, their ethnic dress that they had, where they came from, and then the people. And it was great. It was fun. It was. I loved every minute of it.
Dave Everett asked me about painting a mural related to medicine. It was kind of right down my alley to do that. I was pretty free to do what I wanted to do, kind of after Dave gave me some ideas of what he had in mind, you know, with the history of medicine, and from there I could just pretty much run with it.
Well, I think the murals are a great way to tell stories. I mean, art is a wonderful way to carry on with history. And these murals are a really interesting way to bring the history of the whole state of Minnesota come to life.
It's kind of a privilege and an honor to help in keeping those memories alive, because generations, we're losing the older generations, and that's where the stories come from. And if they're not asked, if they're not around to be asked, we start losing that, whereas visual things in communities can be triggers.
When we decided to do the lesser known leaders of Minnesota, we put together a 3-ring binder that had probably 50 pages in it. When I gave the artist that book, her first question was, do I have to choose people that are in this book? And my answer was no. You can do your own research and you can choose the people that you see as significant contributors that will tell a significant story. She then painted those 14 faces, and I didn't see them. I was gone to West Africa, and when I came back, the murals were all done, and the murals were all stacked in the basement of my building, and I purposely chose not to look at them until the day that it came time to hang them. It's like giving back to your family, or helping to create a family, giving a central focus that really doesn't have anything to do with anybody's business. It doesn't have anything to do with any ulterior motives. It just gives something for the town to just be pleased and proud about.
I have my wife on there. My wife's been gone for 3 years now, and I go by there, I see her there, she's on there, you know. And there's one guy, he's a friend of mine, he's a great fisherman, loved to fish. So I got a picture of him holding a fish. Looks like he's got a big fish like that, but it's the way the camera angle works, you know. And we all laugh about that, yeah. I tried to put humor into it too. And I had one little kindergartner say, "You painted my daddy." Don't get any better than that, guys. Just don't.
I think Dave had a vision. It was his idea to drawing people to all parts of Wadena by having just murals representing all facets of life.
I didn't know what I wanted to look like, but I knew what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to accomplish presenting in a prideful way the interesting and the diverse and the dynamic history of the people that call themselves Minnesotans. I came to understand and know the truth of the fact that every one of us is an artist in our own way.
Becker County hosts a cemetery walk at Exshaw Lutheran Church near Lake Park, Minnesota. It provides an opportunity for the public to visit grave sites and hear from reenactors who play the part of the person buried there.
Well, you know, I'm not that interesting a person, to be real honest, but I'll tell you. My family came here when I was 5. We were farmers in the middle of Sweden in Värmland, and we had just a tiny little farm, and my father had brothers. There was no hope for a future there. So they decided in 1870 that they were going to come to America. They were following a friend of theirs, and so in 1871 we began the trip. Christine Anderson Johnson is my great-grandmother.
So the Exshaw Cemetery Walk was done to raise awareness of those that were buried in the cemetery. It is not meant to be a scary experience. We want the people that are buried there we all have a story in life, and we want to feature that story. And in the instance of Exshaw, the church was very willing to participate and help with the event. We did it in conjunction with their midsummer celebration. And so we were fortunate that many of the people who were portraying those that were buried there were either a relative or a friend or knew them. Perhaps they even went to church with them, which gives the person that's coming to the cemetery walk an extra experience. It goes to a deeper level of the knowledge of those individuals. Everybody does it a little bit different. With those that are portraying characters, we have found that some really want to become that person. But usually what happens is, yes, they dress up to portray that person to the best of the ability, and then they become that person. So you come up to the grave and they would say, I am Olaf B. Anderson and my story is, and they start to talk about that. They're not dead, so they don't talk about the way they die.
I was born in 1875, just outside of Lake Park here. I was the pharmacist here.
I was born on March 26, 1911, in Moorhead, Minnesota. My parents, Dr. Louis and Nanny Nelson, died when I was a very young boy, so I was raised by my aunt and uncle, John and Julia Nelson of Lake Park.
Well, it was brought up that they're looking for people to be portrayed at the cemetery walk. First off, it was my mother, who was a teacher in a one-room schoolhouse. And secondly, the fact that my father was her student, later to become her husband, became an item of interest. And then when it comes to the idea of who's going to portray my father, I thought, well, it is my job. That is what I should do. I was born in Dale, and to Martin and Helga Rusted, and I lived on the north side of the Buffalo River, and I was a Norwegian. I was Norwegian, full-blood Norwegian. I went to school at District 41, where I met this teacher, Mabel Rosell, and Mabel and I, we farmed there, we had dairy there, and she continued to teach. At that time, she went to Hitterdal to teach in grade school. I continued to farm. As I approached retirement, I went back to Hawley and became a rural mail carrier.
I would say generally, we have a little bit of a mix. This is the second cemetery walk we've done. Our first cemetery walk, we focused a lot on people who had settled the Detroit Lakes area. This cemetery walk focused, there was a couple of individuals that had started the church and raised money to start this church. One of the individuals had the church start in their home. But then there's always a few also that we portray that maybe didn't have super glorified lives. They were pretty average citizens. And it's really to drive the point home that we all have a story.
Everyone's got a story that's important to the community. I think a lot of people think big when they think of stories. They think of like Anne Frank or something like that. And it's like, if you didn't have all these people contributing to the community, you really wouldn't have the community as it is.
I did not realize that she had come that young and that she was a charter member of the church until we first started this process. And my mom was like, well, you know, my grandmother was one of the charter members. The most interesting thing to me actually was the fact that she was 31 years old when she got married and started having children at 36. I think that had to be fairly remarkable for that time period. You know, I was a history major in college. It's always been an interest of mine. That's the part that I liked about it. And we tried, when we found the people for our cemetery walk, to get a wide variety of times. So we had some of those original members, but we also had people who had passed within the last 20 years.
It's a good way for us to represent our past with living with us. You know, we're relating our own history, and like you say, we're learning just by digging into the past. But also it shows what a diversified group of people started this church. And it was there's people that were businessmen, they were pharmacists, they were farmers, they were from every walk of life.
The Cemetery Walks and the outreach programming that we do is a really great way for us as a museum to get outside of our walls and get out into the community and bring history alive in a new way that is perhaps relatable on a more personal level than just coming into the museum and looking at exhibits.
Well, you know, it was a hard life. There was a lot of work to be done at all times, and we were farmers. It wasn't like I sat in the house and drank coffee with my friends very often. But when the work was done, we had good friends, we had good times.
Rooted in the tradition of classic Americana and folk storytelling, with a bit of blues and Southern soul, the Jeff Krause Trio's music is about the highs and the lows of everyday life.
Months traveling dark and empty road. We'll spin the driver's seat is home. Truck stop, hotel, motel, all the same. At least no one in Ohio asks where you've been. of victors as if I had my fill. Came to call our names from the cafe table. So I'll sing that tired love song for deaf ears one more night. Phone ringing and it ain't you on the other side. Twice the cost for whiskey, 3 times for the wine. Might drown in this city tonight. Stadium blocks the sun to the church. The church towers over the food shelf. It's a shame you're out of work, but be ashamed to ask for help. Jesus said, go save your damn self. Great storm tried to wipe New Orleans from the map. People came together on that common ground. Celebrate their difference, praise what they don't have. Don't need a damn thing to sing and dance. So I'll sing that tired love song for deaf ears one more night. Phone ringing and it ain't you on the other side. Twice the cost for whiskey, 3 times for the wine. Might drown in this city tonight. Get out of this city tonight. Need to get out of this city tonight. Keep that secret of how we met. Up on the phone till 6 a.m. My heart runs miles out before my head, and I believe in an older man. So would it be alright to kiss you? Out in public, may I hold your hand? I'd be proud to call you partner. You can damn sure call me your man.
If you know of an artist, a topic, or an organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org.
You can watch this and other episodes of Prairie Mosaic on Prairie Public's YouTube channel, and follow Prairie Public on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Bob Dambach. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.